All right, good evening, nerds around the world. Welcome to episode 128 of the Nerds Unite as One podcast, coming to you once again from the Nerds United 1.5 channel. I am your host, Paul English, and like always, we have a terrific show for you. It's another interrogation episode, folks, but it's a little bit different than usual. This time we are doing video game-based interrogation. This time we will be counting down. We'll be discussing our favorite soundtrack in a video game. Music subjects are not a topic we've done too much of on our show, and I think this would be a nice change base to keep going with that. So we'll see. So to help out with this, we have our great panel of regulars that you all know by now: Colton, Mike, and Eric. Gentlemen, how are you?
Woo! Doing pretty good, Paul. Thank you very much.
I'm okay.
All right, so nothing to go over pre. We're gonna just jump right in. So you guys know the drill by this already. Real quick, you'll name your game, and then we'll get going with it. So, Colton, what is your favorite video game soundtrack?
When you walk away, you don't hear me say, "Please open." Kingdom Hearts. It's Kingdom Hearts.
Okay, just couldn't resist belting one out. All right, Eric, what's yours?
Mine is for Halo 3.
All right, Mike, and yours is?
I almost went with Kingdom Hearts, but I ended up going with Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time.
All right, and mine is Sonic Adventure 2. So, guys, you know the drill. Again, let's jump right in. Colton, you're first on the hot seat. Eric, your turn first. What is your first question for Colton?
All right, so obviously you're kind of singing along to that little track right there, but I know a lot of my friends that are into the Kingdom Hearts music, they usually their favorites are sort of the non-vocal tracks of it. Are there any that you specifically really enjoy out of them?
Yeah, the boss music that plays for a boss fight, such as Dragon Maleficent or Giant Ursula, that was like some of my favorite music in the entire game. It really makes you feel like you're fighting something epic and huge and whatnot, and it just really drives home the tension of the fight sequences and what have you. It's like I was willing to put up with, constantly having to see the same cutscene over and over again just so I could see the music begin to kick the boss fight off.
Dedication, I like it.
All right. Mike, what is your question? First question.
Yeah, it's probably going back a little bit, but when you first play the game and it just opens up and it hits that cutscene with a simple and clean playing through it. I mean, that's just one killer way of just starting the game. What was your reaction when you first saw that video and heard the music coming through?
Well, I heard Simple and Clean playing a lot when I was whenever I caught the TV spots for the game, and I thought, this sounds pretty cool. But when I saw the song in its entirety being played with the opening cutscene, I was hooked, man. I mean, especially when the music that plays when we see Riku turning towards Sora and then stretching out his hand, the music just perfectly complements that sequence. Especially, it's like, there's a giant tidal wave heading towards Riku and everything. You think you should be afraid, but there's something oddly majestic about it thanks to the soundtrack.
Okay. So, Colton, my question is pretty simple. What is it about the music in this game that makes it your favorite soundtrack in a video game?
Okay, hold on. Gotta put my phone in. Give me 1 second.
I got a bad feeling about this, folks.
I can see the sky!
Okay.
My eyes!
All right, I'm saved. All right, let's see here. What makes it my favorite soundtrack in a video game? I think it's one of the few video game soundtracks I can think of that just not only does it stand well on its own, but it also, I feel like it perfectly complements everything in the game. Like, I almost chose Kingdom Hearts 2, but I went against it because I felt like some of the boss music for the Disney boss battles is the same every time, and it does almost every time, and even for bosses that doesn't necessarily work for and all that jazz. Whereas all the boss fights, the music always goes with it, and then there's like the serene soundtracks for all the hub worlds and all that jazz. They really go with them, and it gives you puts you in the right frame of mind for pretty much every portion of the game, especially the reprise of Simple and Clean at the end of the game. I didn't cry, but I was crying on the inside, when Sora and Kyra get separated at the end, and Simple and Clean starts getting played, and I'll just rip my heart out. Why don't you, Disney? And then the song that plays over the closing credits after Simple and Clean finishes, that also really got to me, as it just makes it feel like, yeah, we've won, but it really drives home the more bittersweetness of the victory, that we've won, but there's more to come.
And it's the finale playing of Simple and Clean isn't the same upbeat one that you hear at the beginning. It's a more of a slow. It's more poignant, and I shedded a couple of tears. I got teared up there.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, it's the beginning. It really sets it's Simple and Clean is more gets you ready for the adventure, whereas at the end it's a more bittersweet, poignant. It's like, and we get to hear the entire song also. So the more we get more lyrics, and as we see Kyrie walking into the cave, and she sees the drawing that Sora made of the two of them. That's like, damn, the music just really makes that scene just. Who thought that that simple cave drawing could be made emotionally resonant thanks to music? It's just this game. It really shows you just how powerful music can be when it's used well.
No doubt,
Nice.
no doubt. All right, very good, Cole. Thank you. Eric, did you have another question?
Well, that was Colton actually answered my question right at the very end there. I was going to ask, since you say the soundtrack can often stand on its own, even just outside of integrating it into the levels and the boss fights. I was wondering if how you always felt if you listened to the music just on an off day, or just sitting back listening to it, what emotions went through. And well, you kind of answered that right there. So
good. I'm saving us valuable time there then.
All right, Mike, did you have another question?
Nah, I'm good, thanks.
I think Mike took place in the conversation a little bit.
I am good as well. So, Colton, you are all set. Woo! But you're
Awesome.
leading us off because now Eric is on the hot seat. So, Colton, what is your first question?
All right, Eric. I guess I'll start off with something that I said myself. So, what do you think the soundtrack just on its own?
Just on its own, trying to detach from the game. That's actually a really tough question, because I know part of the reason I picked Halo 3 specifically, even over some of the other Halo games, it's just a lot of it is that so many of the pieces of music have just this big, epic, energy fueling feel to it. Not like the kind of tranquil stuff you'll obviously hear in Kingdom Hearts, but more just things that'll drive you with energy. And a lot of it is very iconic. So you'll say to somebody Halo, they immediately think the menu music that comes on. And honestly, if I think of it, it's like I said, it's kind of it very much gives a sense of high energy, and it's very exciting to listen to. But it is definitely a soundtrack that I think works a lot better when you integrate it into the levels and the fights of the game, because it really immerses you in that feeling of being a super soldier or going through the perilous situations in the game.
All right.
Hopefully I answered the question okay.
Okay, very good. Mike, what is your question for Eric?
I've actually never played Halo 3 because I never got through Halo 1. But my question is, what's what is there a single track in the Halo 3 like is there a single moment in the Halo 3 game that the music really it really affects you the most?
It's tough because there's two that I would say. One that's specific. I'm debating because one is specific to Halo 3 and one is kind of shared between it and Halo 2. And that's the track called Never Forget, which is sort of used near the end of the game. It's kind of like a sad, touchy piece of music because, it's done at the end because unless you beat the game on its highest difficulty, you think that that Master Chief died at the end, and he was the very last of the Spartans, and everything's sort of come to a close, and it closes on that track, and it's actually really emotional. And uses of that later on in the series during even more tragic events actually have really gotten to me. So it's a track that's definitely stuck through the series and affects me emotionally. But for tracks that are specific to Halo 3, definitely the if you just Google search the Warthog Run music of Halo 3, it's like this super badass, energized music that's kind of a take on multiple tracks from the game, all for this like one big culmination epic finale scene as you're running away from a giant exploding facility.
Cool. I'll have to check them out. Thanks.
Yeah.
All right. Well, actually, Mike took my question, but thankfully I was able to come up with one pretty quickly. So Eric, and you said that, you know, and you pointed out yourself early just now when people think of Halo, they immediately think of, you know, the menu music, that kind of like choir vocal.
Yes.
In your opinion, what is it about that music that not only makes it so synonymous with Halo, but also makes it so memorable?
I think it's sort of a similar type thing as to why like the original Star Wars soundtracks are so memorable for their time is, you know, they open up in this big epic, you know, this big loud epic music that's so different from everything around it at its time. And really it was well, obviously, I don't think it was the first game to ever use choir in its soundtrack. It was definitely the first one to really resonate with people. And then just open a first-person shooter like that, looking at this completely alien structure, like, and that's just your opening for the game. It really establishes this is a big thing that's completely different from everything you've ever experienced. And just the sort of simplicity of there's not, you know, that many notes going on in it, and it's just sort of a simple little choir chant, so everyone can remember it, but it's also like very impactful for what it means for a transition. That's sort of my take on it, at least.
Okay.
Obviously, people will remember the Halo 2 one more because it's got an electric guitar in it.
All right. Colton, did you have another question?
Yeah, it's a simple question, but
Yep.
What's your personal favorite piece of music from the game? You might have already answered this, but just in case.
Personally, mine. Well, I mentioned "Never Forget" is a really good track. Sort of the beginning of the credit. They play like a little bit of the Halo theme in Halo 3 at the start, and then transition "Never Forget." But when you get to the credits of the game, because this is, you know, intended to be Bungie's last Halo game at the time, it does this really amped up, like orchestrated, like a lot more human, like not synthesized choir, like a real choir doing the beginning of the Halo theme. And to this day, I still think that is the very best version of that that's ever existed. And I just love going to like the credits music and literally just listening to the first 50 seconds.
Cool.
All right. Mike, did you have another question?
Nah, he answered mine fairly well. Thank you.
As he did with mine. So, Eric, you're good. And which means, Mike, you're now on the hot seat, ready or not. Colton, you're up first. What is your first question?
No, it's actually pretty cool. Thank you.
What?
My seat's very cool. Thank you.
Okay, Ocarina of Time. Okay, so it's a game with a giving out Zelda. Of course, there's gonna be a lot of iconic music in it, but one of the most iconic things about it is the ocarina itself and the music it gives us. So, what would you say is your favorite song that you can play through the ocarina in Legend of Zelda?
I don't think I could narrow it down to one because there are two that I really prefer. One,
they give us both.
The Zelda's Lullaby. the first song you learn, and of course the Saria song, the song of the forest. One is much more somber and slow and more grounded. The other light, happy, up in the air, bouncy. That's those two. They counterbalance each other, but they're also probably the two songs that you hear the most in the entire game. So, that's why those two are probably my favorites.
Okay, Eric, do you have a question?
Yes. So obviously, the main Zelda theme is very iconic, and you were just mentioning about the different songs you can play in the ocarina. Though one thing I always think of in big adventure games like this is how the music of the different areas or the bosses can really immerse you in your situation. How does the Ocarina soundtrack do that for you? Like, how does it make you feel like in the game, immerse you essentially?
Well, I mean, like when you start the game and you eventually leave Kakari, the opening village.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah. No, I got you.
But and then you venture out into the wide, the open plains of Hyrule. You come out at night at first, and it's just it's that kind of darker zone. But as soon as the light shines up, you have this wide, epic, sweeping score, and it's really kind of shows you, you're in Hyrule. You can wander pretty much anywhere you want, and it just really opens it up. But then, whenever you see Ganondorf, and it gets into that Ganondorf theme. That's the theme that you want for your big bad. That's the dark, filling you with dread. This is a guy you don't want to screw with because he will rip you apart, and he very nearly does. That's a really, I'm not a big fan of the big boss battle with Ganondorf. He's tough.
All right, very good.
All right. So my question is this, because I don't think I've ever played a Zelda game in its entirety. Just growing up, the Zelda game was just too complicated for me as a little kid. So, but I am aware that like most great Nintendo characters, The Legend of Zelda has this iconic themes like dun 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 dun. Everyone knows it. My question is, did a version of that get used in Ocarina of Time? And if not, why do you think that was the case?
Well, it wasn't used in game, at least not that I can recall. But as soon as you, like it's not something you can learn to play on the Ocarina. But as soon as you boot up the game, and it shows Link, riding across Hyrule on Epona, then the theme comes in, and that's, I mean, you've got to have that theme in there because that's the Legend of Zelda theme. It's been around there since the first game. It'll be around there till the last game. Hopefully that never happens, but hell, it even pops in Super Smash Brothers.
Yeah, that's true.
So you do not get. I mean, there are some iconic themes. You get the Mario theme. Yeah, and you get the Zelda theme. You get
the Pokemon theme.
Yeah. Does Metroid have a theme?
It does, but it's not really as remembered as the other ones.
I think the first one has a theme, but they didn't use it for the others.
It's not like an iconic theme that they've kept.
Right.
No.
Yeah. Nah. That's a pity. But anyway, yes. So the iconic Legend of Zelda. Yeah, the iconic Legend of Zelda theme is definitely in the game, and it wouldn't feel like a Zelda game without it.
Okay, good enough. Colton, did you have another question?
Yeah, but first, Paul, don't feel bad about not finishing a Zelda game in its entirety. When I got Oracle of Seasons for the Game Boy Color, I literally had to buy the strategy guide just to get past the first level, and I was only able to beat Link's Awakening and A Link to the Past with help from one of my friends. If he didn't tell me what to do, I never would have beaten either of them.
Okay, all right.
But anyway, though, my other question, my connection was kind of lagging, so you might have talked about it while I was frozen. But so the final battle of the game between Link and Ganon, and then Link and Ganondorf, and then Link and Ganon has two very memorable tracks. So, just out of curiosity, which one would you say is your favorite and why?
I think the final ultimate battle against the giant pig Ganon, because mainly because it's just like the entire castle has been destroyed, and there's it's just it's a much more epic and like threatening track that accompanies it. It's basically it's a theme that when you hear it, okay, yeah, this is the end boss of the game. There's no going beyond this theme. So that's the one I prefer of the two.
Cool.
And right. To be fair, the Game Boy Zelda games were always a little bit on the tricky side.
You think?
Yeah.
It's like if I never had the strategy guide, I probably wonders if I ever would have figured out what to freaking do.
I beat Link's Awakening on my own, but I still have yet to beat Oracle of Seasons or Oracle of Time.
Oracle of Ages.
Ages, yeah.
Yeah, well, they're pretty fun if you ever figure out how to get past them. They're pretty cool games. Though neither of them is as cheap as A Link to the Past can get regarding the whole how do you defeat Ganon? You need to get silver arrows, which we will not tell you how you can acquire them.
Yeah.
All right, Eric, did you have another question?
Only other thing I can really think of for the moment is, are there any songs in Ocarina of Time that, since I know all the releases of Legend of Zelda, but I haven't listened to all their soundtracks. Are there any songs from the Ocarina soundtrack that haven't really made a return in the later entries that you really enjoy?
That I really enjoyed?
Yeah. Because I know a lot of the songs from Ocarina of Time, like Saria's song, have like made their home in the franchise. So I wasn't sure if there were any that I haven't heard because they haven't made it out of Ocarina.
Well, I don't know if the theme to the Water Temple ever made it past, but that's because everyone got so pissed off at the Water Temple that nobody ever wanted to hear that music again. They spent so much time in the Water Temple, they kept hearing it in their heads.
Yeah, might be kind of traumatizing music, like the drowning theme in Sonic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All
right.
The theme. The theme that you learn in the Goron and the Goron's place. I always enjoyed that one, but I don't think it really appears too much. I mean, you might hear traces of it in things like Wind Waker, but I don't think you ever hear it like in its full version.
All right, I'll have to go check that one out.
All right, I do not have another question, so Mike, you're all set. Now I'm on the seat, so here we go. Colton, you're up first.
All right, so Sonic. If there's one thing every Sonic fan can always agree on is that the music in his games always kicks ass, and there's always one game. There's always one song in every game that really captures what the essence of Sonic is. So, for Sonic Adventure 2, you chose, right?
Yes.
What song would you say really gets the character of Sonic?
Oh God, that is really tough because there's so many good ones. But I think by now I would have to go to the music for the first Sonic level, City Escape. I mean, you have Sonic just like running and grinding through this huge city with this amazing kick-ass song playing on. I mean, if I could, I'd play it for you, but I don't want to risk getting copyright or anything.
Around at the speed of sound.
Yeah,
got places to go.
Follow me, set me free.
Yeah.
Trust me, and we will escape from the city.
Yeah, that's it. So I think that one right there, that to me is kind of sums up, you know, what it, you know, it just sucks you in so quickly. You're immediately like, okay, I'm playing this game just to hear more of these tracks.
Mm-hmm.
I would have gone with the It Doesn't Matter by Tony Harnell, but I didn't. I prefer the version in Sonic Adventure 1 over the one in Sonic Adventure 2. I didn't like the Sonic Adventure 2 version of it. I thought it was toned down, so that's why I didn't go with that one.
All right.
All right. Eric, what is your question?
All right. So obviously everyone loves all the Sonic and Shadow action level themes. They're super high energy and everything. But one that's some people love, like myself, and some people are not as fond of. What are your thoughts on the music in the Knuckles levels, like where they do all of that weird rap stuff during it?
Honestly, I love it. And I'm not a hip hop person by any stretch. I'm not fond of hip hop music too much, but by God, I mean, it just seems so appropriate for, you know, who Knuckles is as a character. I mean, you know, Wild Canyon, Pumpkin Hill, Death Chamber, the Space. It fits so well, not just the levels, but it also fits who Knuckles' character is, his personality and whatnot. So, I mean, yeah, I give him props for it. I mean, the Pumpkin Hill music is eerily good. I mean, I could play that level like 10 straight times just to listen to that music. Listen to that song. So I hope that answers your question.
Yep.
All right. Mike, what is your question?
All right. Personally, I really prefer the soundtrack to Sonic Adventure 1, but I can't, you know, I can't argue with Sonic Adventure 2. That one's really good as well. What is it about Sonic Adventure 2 that puts it over Adventure 1 for you?
Oh boy. That is a hard because they are so close. I think if I had to go like one, I think it's the music for the individual levels, but not just for Sonic, but for Tails, Shadow, Knuckles, Eggman, even Rouge. I thought, you know, the music that was chosen for each level, I thought it was better than the ones in Sonic Adventure 1. Not that they weren't bad, mind you, they were really good, but the ones in Sonic Adventure 2, they stood out more, not just because they fit the level design so well, but each song also, like I said, as I alluded to with the music from Knuckles level, that each of the music kind of, you know, fit the description, fit the character's personality. You got Tails' music is kind of upbeat, almost like a, you know, a pop rock kind of vibe to it. Knuckles is a, you know, hip hop grid. Shadow and Eggman kind of have like a heavy metal base to them, and Rouge is like a girl pop kind of thing, which fits her. And then, you know, you got Sonic with that iconic light metal and hard rock. So it just, the music chosen for each character and each of their stages, it just fit their personalities so well, and it fit the level designs perfectly. So it just stood out more.
All right,
so
cool.
That's why I would have to go with it.
Cool.
Plus, I mean, Crush 40 just took their game to another level with their music.
Yeah. I mean, you know, like I said, there's really no wrong answer when you choose one or the other. I mean, they're both fantastic.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. All right. Colton, did you have another question?
Yeah. So, Live and Learn, which is the final boss music for the game. It's a song that, you know, most
song.
Yeah, it's a song that most players probably don't hear the entirety of because the boss fight is so quick they get through it before the song is even finished. But what do you think of that song overall?
Well, I have it downloaded onto my iPhone. Did that answer your question?
Yes.
That's how good it is.
All right, that was a test.
Well, I mean, like I said, I play it right now for you, but I mean, like, I don't get copyright. But if I did play it, you would see Eric going like this right now. I mean, he'd be doing that right now.
Oh.
What the?
I think Chris is trying to join the call there for a second.
Why would Chris be here? He doesn't game. So, yeah.
Trying to troll us again.
Like I said, I mean, it's definitely one of Crush 40's best songs. I mean, I love Live and Learn. It's just so incredible. And especially love, you know, when they do it, like when when they get these like bad clips of their live performances, like I really wish Crush 40 would do an official tour. Like, come on, guys, could you get on that, please? But I mean, yeah, it's just so amazing. You know, Johnny's vocals and Jun's guitar work. I mean, they are amazing together. So I mean, it's one of their most identifiable songs. It's so good, and it fits the final boss fight so well.
All right, cool. I would honestly, if I had to choose between it or Sonic Adventure 1's final boss music, I would probably choose "Open Your Heart," but "Live and Learn" is pretty badass as well.
Yeah, you can't fault "Open Your Heart." That is just epic as hell. All right, Eric, did you have another question?
No, you answered pretty much everything I wanted to ask. Believe me, I would have said everything you said about it already.
Mike, are you good, or did you have something else?
Yeah, no, you answered my questions.
All right, guys. So looks like that is going to wrap up this show. This was a whole lot of fun talking music. And it's not something we get to do very often, so it's always a nice change of pace. So, yeah. Colton, it was a pleasure having you here.
Yeah, I actually really enjoyed this one. It had me smiling throughout because, you know, music is just as a big important part of media as everything else that goes into it.
Absolutely. Eric, it was a pleasure having you here. You know, with you not being at work as much, I live for these moments when we get to, you know, talk over the show.
No, it's always fun to come by, and congratulations, guys! It's the first video game show where I didn't pick Melee.
Congratulations.
That's how addicted he is. I mean, hell, I've only mentioned Fallout 4 in one video game-based episode. I have others to talk to. This guy brings up Melee every time.
I mean, I have my controller already connected to my computer, ready to play once we're done.
You still
I can't talk with that. I'm heading to Fallout. I'm heading to the Wasteland 2 after this.
Way to date yourself there, Eric.
Mike, it was a pleasure having you here as well.
Yeah, honestly, Paul, I'm kind of surprised you didn't pick one of the Fallout games because those ones have got some pretty kick-ass music as well.
The music is definitely good. I'm fond of the. I'm pretty fond of the music from Fallout 4. It's pretty good. Pretty good.
So, yeah, that retro 50s style.
Yeah, early, you know, the retro stuff that you hear in the front of that, like jazz and early rock and kind of thing. It's good stuff. All right, guys. So we will see you next week. I don't know if we'll be back on the main channel or not, but we'll keep you up to date on that. So we'll see you next week regardless. Until then, have a great night, everyone. Bye-bye.